Hey guys, welcome to Stereotypes, a podcast where we talk about stereotypes. This episode, we have Yannick as our guest speaker, Justin's my co-host, and I'm Mahina Wong, and I'm your host. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Justin. I'm the co-host, as Mahina said, and I also take English literature in DSE as an elective.
Hi everyone, I'm Yannick and I'm here to steal the show today. I'm the only guest here. And currently I take English literature in Form 4 and I plan to take English A higher level in IB or language literature as an elective in DSE. I'm also a poet and a writer. Yeah, that's it.
And I take English A higher level in the IB, and I don't know if I regret it or not. Let's see that 2 years later. Woo! So, literally forgot to ask for feedback again, but I'm pretty sure no one would actually ask. But I think me and Justin have quite. I as a literature student myself. Oh dear lord! Because here's the thing: there's a lot of stereotypes. Because my cohort compared to your cohort, Yannick, there's a huge difference because your cohort has a lot of STEM kids, so like the science, the business, and the econ, the the geography kids, but there's not a lot of arts and language literature kids,
Yeah.
So let's start off with stereotypes you've heard about yourself and any experience of like being more like the outcast person in terms of like enjoying language while your people in your form prefer other subjects or mainly focus on subjects such as like the sciences or the humanities and whatnot.
That's a really interesting thing because when it comes to as you say, like there's this division between art kids and STEM kids. I think the obvious question is, why is there so little Asian representation in literature, especially English literature? And that's a really broad sociological question that I cannot even begin to answer. But I think my teachers and I think my parents have tried to steer me into like STEM and maths, but being a rebellious kid that I am, I feel like I'm destined to do something that has to do with languages and stuff. And really, language is really easy. It's a really easy subject, but literature is a completely different realm. Literature, you have to feel it. You have to like it to understand it. And that's why I think a lot of people this kind of trips up and have this kind of phobia for literature.
I don't have a phobia for it, but I don't hate it yet, and that may change when exams come. I currently take English A, and I don't know how to feel about it yet, but it's just a lot of like how the IB does like the 7 concepts and then like the free like I don't know readers, writers, text, and then intersectionality and there's time and space. So those 3 are like the main things you learn in Langlit, and I can tell you a lot of people in my class are struggling in English in SL and HL to like everyone in my cohort for the first term basically got around a 3 and a 4 as an average. So that's not really high, obviously. And a lot of people struggle in literature, including myself. So currently we're doing Shay Shonigan and Gloria Atanmo. What? I don't know how to pronounce her name. If I say it wrong, woohoo. Yeah, basically we're doing like comparing text. One's a blog, one's like a Japanese court writing thing. Don't know what it is. And I don't understand thing. So yeah. Anyway, Justin, any Any comment?
Well, I think there's a large difference between looking at English literature in your free time versus like looking at it as a subject. I think there is definitely this difference because in English literature as a subject, you have to look at a lot of different things that you don't like to look at. Like for example, if you like novels, you wouldn't want to look at poetry, right? Which is like, and then in both, I think both IB and DSC, we have to look at poetry. It's like a compulsory part. And we have to memorize all these different crazy literary devices. And obviously, if you don't like them, then you don't like them. So there's a difference. And then I think if we had to compare like the syllabus of DSE and IB, I think DSE probably has it easier in terms of examination because we don't need to look at like intertextuality and all that crap. We just need to know the devices and then know how to analyze it and then just write on paper. That's it.
And I 100% agree on Justin's point because there's a difference between reading and analyzing it. I enjoy reading a lot, but I don't like doing comparative essays and compare and contrasting. I don't enjoy it the tiniest bit. And English literature can take the fun out of reading for me sometimes. Yeah.
I'm not too sure, but if I'm not wrong, the 4-4 DSC English literature curriculum, we can absolutely go there. I hate it. I don't find a single bit of that course literature based, other than I don't know what book you're reading now, Blood Brothers, and I didn't even get to. We didn't even basically DSC year for my cohort was we didn't even get a book, so I don't even know what we did in English because I didn't have online lessons because my teacher never said anything.
This year we have one single book, Blood Brothers, but that's about it. It's usually just, just a collection of short stories, which I don't really enjoy. But yeah,
the short stories were for primary kids. Just let's make it very clear that the short stories are literally on the front page for 5th and 6th graders. Don't know what country, don't know what lexile, don't know what literacy rate they're in, but basic short stories. Basically, for my year, you answer 5 questions. You go into an exam, you answer 5 questions, and then you get the grade back. And then you try memorizing notes. Like you got to prep at home, but then it's kind of like a stupid assessment. Like I don't know what you Form 4 did though this year. So
this year we did 4 short stories. The first one was How to Become a Writer, and then the second was Walter-Mitty, and then there's another one, an elective one. You could choose which one to do for your essay. I chose A Temporary Notice by Jhumpa Lahiri, which I really, really enjoyed. But what I hear from you, I assume what I'm saying is, well, I feel like what you're trying to say is short stories are inferior to, novels and, other types of literature. But, I think they're completely 2 different experiences, and it would be unfair to compare them. It's like watching an Olympic. You read a full-size book, you're in for the whole experience. Like you're there to watch someone run, but you were there to see like the opening ceremony. You watch their speeches, and then you do the entire ceremony thing. But then short story, it's just like searching up Olympics on YouTube and just watching them run and then going on to the next video. So it's short stories, it's more like a one-time adrenaline rush. And yeah, I think I actually prefer short stories. I prefer writing short stories, but yeah.
Justin?
Yeah, I like short stories more as well, just because they're shorter, and I don't like reading. Like I just hate reading, so I prefer something short and interesting.
Yeah. I like reading, but I'm not like a STEM kid, but I like reading like science, like the nonfiction books, like real stories, or like more like psychology or science books. I'm more towards that. Don't read like fiction books that much. Whatever Yannick sends me, I do read, and I actually do like, because I emphasize a lot on that. But I really, really don't like poems. I really don't like Shakespeare. I despise anything in English theater. Before 17th English theater, I hate. So Shakespeare, no.
There's no, like, I saw this post on Instagram where it says, oh, there's no in between for Shakespeare. You either really love it or you really hate it. And I have to say, I really, really hate Shakespeare.
Don't
I remember we
understand
did Shakespeare, The Tempest last year, and boy, oh boy, I was completely, I was in a trance. I didn't know what I was doing. I just somehow got through it.
We did Romeo and Juliet for my. I think we were the last cohort doing Romeo and Juliet. Justin, did you? I think you did it, right? Any thoughts, opinions?
We didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't read it, but I don't plan to read it either. So
Don't do it.
Really don't do it.
It's all right.
So 7 pages in, you're reading about how Romeo is kissing Juliet. It is because like English in lower forms, like they're really quick on units, right? So like, oh, 2 weeks in, and then you're doing this. 2 weeks after, you're doing whatever. So we're like assigned to read chapters in lower school, and now you're upper form, you just read whatever you need to read. But like lower form, you're set to read like, I think Romeo and Juliet has like 7-ish chapters. They definitely have more. I can't remember how many anymore. But I think I had to read the first 7 chapters. Not fun. I read it on a bus, and the reaction I had on a bus and people looking at me like I was insane. Don't do it. Don't read, especially don't get like the modern version, like the ones that's actually translated to normal English. Yeah, no.
The no fear version.
The version that is sugar coated in context, I think. I'm not too sure. I don't understand single thing in Shakespeare. Don't plan on studying it. I don't think we're doing it for English this year either, which is very nice. But I know a lot of schools do it for their IB course, and a lot despise it in terms of just the subject. I also know a lot of people hate the IB English course. I don't know about DSE, but I think the DSE one's quite similar to the IB. Like what you guys read are similar. I don't know what the conversation and the lessons are like, but for English, we're separated into like we have SL and HL. So SL you're learning one thing, HL you're learning another thing. So SL right now we're doing like a prep for our exams. HL you're reading a comic. If you know what it is, called Madam and Eve, and it's basically comedic satire, politics. Don't understand it. I'm analyzing cartoon characters for the next month. I don't understand it. So literature is not my thing. Yeah.
I think we did something similar in Form 3, remotely similar. I think it was Franz Kafka, Metamorphosis, something, but I just really didn't like it. The pace was really slow, and it was what I would call aggressively average. And yeah.
Let's go to languages, because we don't just do literature here. How many languages do you guys speak? Doesn't have to be like fluent, like not English fluent. How many languages do you speak? What motivated you to learn these languages, and why? Justin, you can start first, or Yannick, I don't mind.
I'll go first. So I know how to speak 3 languages. I know how to read Korean, but I don't understand Korean. I just know how to read it. And then I think that's it. Yeah. And then I learned. Oh, sorry. You go first.
Yeah, you go. I thought you were done.
Oh shit. Okay, sorry. I learned Korean because I was super obsessed with K-pop, and I wanted to become a K-pop star. So I learned Korean. I watched that video, like watched those alphabet videos and just started off. But then I learned the whole thing, but I just don't understand what people are saying. That's it.
I I actually share a really similar experience with Korean as Justin. There was this time in 2012 where K-pop was really like on the rise, and I also learned Korean for the same reason. And I also gave up right after learning the alphabet. So I know how to read it, I just don't understand it. Besides that, I also speak Cantonese, Mandarin, English, my native language. I also speak Spanish fluently, Turkish because my dad speaks it, a little bit of crappy Dutch, and I'm currently learning Thai. So there you have it.
I speak Mandarin, Cantonese, English, and not even close to fluent Spanish because I'm taking it for my diploma right now. Struggling a lot in the languages in this diploma. Yeah, I spent because the diploma, the language for I have an issue in this diploma, and because it's constantly changing, right? Because generations change and the world gets more advanced. This course is so fast. This course just there's so many people complaining about it, and I'm also one of them that are constantly saying how fast it is. But my parents has tried to make me learn languages, and every year I've said no during the summer. I regret it now. I really want to. I think after uni, either I'm gonna try and learn more Spanish. I'm gonna learn another language. I'm not too sure yet. But because I'm going to UK, I'm planning to go to UK, so English is like the main language there anyway. So yeah, I don't know which one's my other tongue between Cantonese and English because I mostly speak English, Chinese. Yeah. So anyone want to talk about their language experience? Why they
I
learned
actually
it?
have a question for Mahina. So you are doing Spanish in Form 5 IB. So I heard it's an online course, and you mentioned that the pace is really fast, but since it's online course, don't you get to pace your own learning?
No, it is based. So basically, what the online course is it's like a cycle, right? So how we have like day A to F, so it goes on a rotational cycle. For Pamoja, which is the course we're actually doing, so we do a week. So the week ends Wednesday at 7 or 8 in the morning in Hong Kong time. So what you do is they set you like a few assignments. So like the exams include like reading, writing, listening, oral. And what they do is they set one oral per unit, a few writing assignments, maybe one listening comprehension per unit or two. And basically, the teacher doesn't, you can ask the teacher for advice, but the issue is because the teachers are all in different time zones, same as the students in your class. So the teacher has like 150 students and they're all over the world. So some are in France, some are in China, some in Korea, some are in Hong Kong, some are in America, and all over the place. So you basically can't communicate with anyone. Then your orals are usually at night or in a weird time during the weekend because the time zone. And after that, the issue is because everything's online, so it's self-reading. They don't give you like live lessons. The only live thing they set you to do is your oral. And the orals are like past, present tense, future tense, masculine, feminine. Like those are basic, right? But we're talking about like future perfect, past perfect, etc, etc. And I have no idea what I'm doing. So, and I don't speak Spanish, conversation wise, because my family doesn't speak it, and no one in the school other than my biology teacher and my Spanish teacher speaks it. And we only get one lesson per week for the cycle. So Spanish is hard. And unless you're keen to learn it, yes.
Yeah, when it comes to languages, it's really important to have to just really regulate yourself and give yourself a schedule, and to kind of to understand the importance of consistency. It's like a muscle. And what I like to do when I learn languages, because I juggle a lot of languages at the same time. So what I do is I schedule a lesson for each, a live lesson with the teacher on italki, not sponsored. And I would just have a conversational lesson with them just to kind of maintain the level of my language. Yeah.
I should do that. I really should. Anyway, aside from that, any more topic conversations you guys have in mind?
This one, this really really cute and really unique assumption on not so much as language student, but to writers or poets. People, when I tell people that I'm a poet, they automatically assume that, oh, you're writer. Are you somehow sad or depressed? You know, like this is they automatically assume that creative people are depressed. Like, you know, Van Gogh, he was he delusional or something? He had mental illness, so he cut off his ears. And yeah, and I'm really shocked, and a little bit flattered. I don't know. What I want to say is, not every writers are sad, but all sad people are writers. That is my line. When I write, there's this certain quality of melancholy in my poems, and I've never composed a writing or a poem full of humor. There's always some kind of seriousness in what I write, but in real life, I'm not entirely what I write. I'm less serious, and I laugh, of the silliest things. But the saddest period in our life are usually experienced very deeply, that has an impact on our personality. Hence, a sad writing has a slightly greater gravity towards, readers. And somehow or another, like, the reader relates him or herself to the pain hidden behind those words. Every writer's unique, but I prefer writing melancholy to humor. And, trust me, both are as difficult to compose. So, yeah.
Justin?
Man, that line, not all writers are sad, but all sad people are writers, that really fucked me up. Like, I don't know. I'm still having trouble to grasp that sentence was a reason. But I just want to ask Yannick a question. Like, how long does it take for you to learn different languages usually?
Oh, well, it depends, like, what kind of proficiency you're aiming at. If you're aiming at, C2 level, so like almost native speaker, I think that would take you around, for me to master, not master, but to speak Spanish at a good level, it took me around 3 to 4 years of consistent input of effort.
And I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be doing it in 2 years.
2 years
So
is a little bit tight.
That's insane. So when did you start learning Spanish then?
I started learning Spanish when I was around 11, I think. 10 or 11, around that time. Yeah.
What
And
motivates you to learn a language? Like, what makes you
what
like, oh, I
motivated me
want to
to
learn
learn?
Thai, I want to learn Spanish, I want to learn, yeah.
For Spanish, there was this time where learning languages was cool. Everyone was learning like French and stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna hop on board the train. I'm gonna learn Spanish. And I don't really share like an affinity with Spanish, but it's a useful tool. And for Thai, at first I wanted to learn to order food at a Thai restaurant. So I was learning with like fish, chicken, vegetarian, tom yum goong, but and then I started to get hooked on like the culture and the way people communicate, and even like the way the language sound is really interesting and intriguing to me. So So I decided to start from scratch and learn Thai as my 2021 New Year resolution, which I'm still sticking to. So yeah, that's
amazing.
usually how I start learning languages.
I'm gonna go back to Yannick's line of not all writers are sad, but all sad people are writers. I agree because I write, but it's for creative writing, like because I take drama, right? So like usually when we do performances or like script annotation, we usually use a lot of emotion or memory to go back into our work. So, for example, what he says is because my E is currently on Sarah King, which is a very, very, very depressing play, and I can't wait to be performing it. I'm not performing; I'm directing it, and it's kind of what Yannick said. When I have those like stressed moments, they're not even stressed moments, or like moments where I'm like feeling like garbage. Those are the moments that I put into like my work, and those are the moments that look best. But if I'm like faking it, like I like sad actor move like blah, then it usually looks like fake, or it doesn't seem to be like genuinely depressive. I don't know. Opinions.
Yeah, for me personally, I really enjoy poets who kill themselves, like who committed suicide. I really enjoy Sylvia Plath, but also I also really enjoyed Emily Dickinson. She explores a lot about death and immortality and life, which yeah, which I really enjoy.
Because Sarah Kane also committed suicide, 26, over depression. Playwriter.
This says a lot about us.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when I was researching Sarah Kane, I knew she committed suicide, but then her whole life story is like, I went to University of Birmingham, didn't like it. Going to Bristol, didn't like it. Wrote plays, followed this person. My last play, all about depression. How did I die? Depression. It's pretty freaking tragic reading this 3 in the morning, and she's 26. So I don't know. Justin, you want to go to your segment?
Yeah, sure. I just want to elaborate a bit on Yannick's thing about like there was this phase where everyone's learning a language.
Yeah.
That phase that I don't know like how I forgot about that phase, but now you said it, I remembered it. It's crazy how everyone was on Duolingo, and
Duolingo.
everyone was on Duolingo. I was on Duolingo, and I learned German, I learned Spanish, I learned a bit of French, but almost every time, like I go 1 week consistently, and then I just give up. And I'm
You'd
like,
hop onto the other language because it's so accessible.
yeah. And then 1 week of that,
me.
1 week of that, and then end it there. Like after a month, the Duolingo app, I can just delete it because I never use it anymore. So I'm really surprised on like how determined you are to learn a language. Even at 10, like myself at 10, I would sit there for an hour and I want to kill myself. Like you sat there for 3 to 4 years to learn Spanish and mastered it. Like that's insane. That's insane. But yeah, I'm gonna move on to my segment right now. It's about stereotypes of English literature people and language people, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna show some memes. It's not really a meme, but Mahina, can you enable share screen for me?
Just did it.
Okay. Thanks.
Oh God, memes.
It's not really a meme. So we have here the first meme. So what my friends think I do is that every English major are crazy avid readers, and what my parents think English majors do, all of them just write out of baby poems, like very amateur poems, I guess. What society thinks I do, they think that every English major is a teacher, and I kind of agree on that. what my teacher thinks I do spends your day on Spark Notes and English charts and those kind of websites, you know. What I think I do, I don't know, like all English poets or English majors romanticize themselves as these great Shakespearean, crazy William Blake people who live in attics and eat off sewer rats or something and like write, I don't know, like write poems, you know. And then what you really do is just you spend your day at the library reading stuff. So what's your reaction to this, Yannick?
I really connected to what my parents think I do and what my teachers think I do. You know, a few days ago, I was working on my short stories, and in my room, and my mom came, like, opened the door, came in, and saw me like furiously scribbling stuff and editing stuff, and she said something in broken English. She was like, "Ah, yeah, you write, but you still don't have enough money. You squeezed all the brain on the paper, but still no money. Your cousin graduated law school, now lawyer." And you know, I'm not gonna, Alice Wonderland isn't hop into that rabbit hole because I can talk on and on with that. We can leave that for later. But yeah, and what my teachers think I do, I 120% relate to that. I have to admit, I am a frequent user of SparkNotes, lit charts, even Quora.
All the
I'm
English
really that
summary.
desperate.
Yeah, the English summary one. As an IB student, I use it too. It's the quickest way, and the best thing is usually teachers actually do go through those themes, and like all the websites share the same themes and the topics, symbols, characters, blah blah. It's your best friend. It's like don't use it. Don't depend on it on like a comparative essay on an exam, right? Like read the book, but like if you really just don't know what the book's about, for example, like Gatsby, first chapter, and I was like, who is Nick? Why is the narrator being such like a douche on being rich? Why? And reading the charts are like, Spark Notes, lifesaver. Anyway, carry on.
I feel like at this point it is just, for English literature student, I feel like at this point it is kind of a second nature to open lit charts whenever a teacher announces a new unit or a new text. We just go, lit charts, blood brother theme. And, it's really accessible. You have just, class and money, faith, superstition,
Yeah, I wouldn't say, like, I myself also use it. I wouldn't say I'm like a frequent user. I do use it to like gloss over the different themes, like the different maybe devices that I haven't spot out, and just use it as a guide. I know there are some people that like totally depend on it because they like completely lack the skill of like analysis and stuff. So they have to use Spark Notes and these different websites to help them, but I just use them as like a foundation. I think most people do that as well. Yeah.
And, I don't do too well in analytical essays. My first essays in Form 4, I think, I got a 4 and a 5. And, I am a great reader. I am an average writer, but I am definitely not a good analytical, not a good literary critic.
Wait, this grade, like the 4 and 5, is in DSE or IB grades? Because there's a large difference.
DSE grade.
That's high.
Oh, that's high. Yeah, that's high.
Like,
no,
first thing in, I got like, I don't even know what I got first thing in, but I got 5 first term and 4 in the second term. I was pretty darn proud of that because translating that into IB, that's like a 7, so, or 6. I don't remember, but
I heard someone got a 5-star.
Yeah,
so in my class, so
I was
pretty
think I know.
depressed.
Don't compare yourself to others. It's literature. There's gonna be bias.
Yeah, but like if it's DSC grade 5, 4, 5, it's pretty good. I mean, even in Form 5 DSE English, it's really rare that you get a 5 or a 4. I remember my first assessment, I got a 2, borderline 3.
DSE grade, right?
Yeah.
I think
So getting a 4
2 is a
pretty
pass
great.
grade for DSE.
Yeah, 2 is a pass. 2 is a pass.
Yeah.
So for 4 or 5, it's definitely not a bad grade at all. But I would say that there are definitely people better than you. Yeah, it's just
The people in my class, they
yeah.
don't really care anymore. They don't care about the English grades. They don't care about the Chinese grades. They only really care about the chemistry, the physics, the
Yeah, the
biology,
elective grades, because
the
they think that's the
mathematics.
only thing that goes into their IB diploma choices. No, it's not. They count. If anyone's watching and they're going through the diploma process, which I think is actually happening next week for you guys, it sucks. They look at everything. They look at your lateness. They see your attendance rate. They see your CCA. They see your contributions to your school. They see your grades. They see like, oh, do teachers say like crap about you? They look at everything. It sucks. It's the most painful experience you go through in Form 4, and I'm so glad it's like over. I think next week for you guys. So I'm gonna congratulate you beforehand.
Oh, and I would like to add, like, there's this assumption that you cannot study for English literature, which is entirely false. For English literature, you do have stuff to memorize, like literary devices, poetic devices, the themes of the book, some quotes. You have a lot to study, and people just automatically assume that since there's no question and answer, there's no direct answer, it's all subjective, blah 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 blah, there's nothing to study, and that really irks me a little bit.
It really depends on the extent of what the assessment. For example, your IO, like for IB we do an IO, so it's like a comparative presentation, lit non-lit text. You can't study for that, and it's literally set in IB. You cannot study for it. You can study for it throughout the year, like you do a learner portfolio, and you can study for it. But they literally give you the text the night before the presentation, so it's like a 40-line extract, I think, and like the entire book or like an entire thing, because non-lit text. You don't get to study for it. You basically cannot prep for what's about to present. In DSC, there's like, you have 5 chances, and then you choose like two of your best grades, you submit it to uni. IB, you get 2 chances. You fail those 2 chances, you're not getting into uni, you're not gonna get a good grade, period. So it really depends on the diploma and what they ask for. For example, like essay, comparative essay, literary devices, like those you can definitely study for, and you should be studying for those because you need to pass. But like the IO, for example, you cannot study for it. It's like, go in, get luck. I hope you don't cry during your presentation. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, for DSE, it's you definitely need to revise and study for it because our exams are not open book. So we have to do The Great Gatsby, and then we have to do the film Vertigo, and then there are a handful of short stories we need to know and a handful of poems. So definitely we have to memorize all of the different themes, the characterizations, the literary devices, the plot, the quotes, like everything you have to revise for it. And then let's see. Paper 1, we have to write 2 essays, I think. And then paper 2, we have to write about poems and like literary devices and different stuff. So definitely for all of those different papers, parts, sections, we have to memorize every single thing on the book, or else you would not get a good grade. So yeah, there's that.
Whoever's watching, you hear that, STEM kids?
Yeah.
Literally.
You definitely have to revise.
Yeah, you people, I think a lot of things that language kids, no, a lot of non-language kids don't know is that it's a hard subject. It's, again, not, I've said this in so many episodes, including the arts. There is no one straight line to pass language, to pass arts, to pass humanities. There really isn't, because there's so many different, like, again, let's use 4.48 for example. You can make 4.48 a happy ending, and you could get a 7. But you could also make it a depressive play and get a 7. It really depends on what your marker wants. If he, she, or they think, oh, it's supposed to be a happy ending, then you'll get a 7. But if it's like, no, it shouldn't be depressive, you're gonna get a 3 if you don't have like a good explanation back of your plays and stuff. It sucks. It really sucks. So again, it's not literature, especially in the IB, and I'm speaking for a vast majority, I think it's a really hard subject. Unless,
and
yeah,
especially in language, like you said, there's always, to an extent, a judgment call, like a judgment to make. Like, should I give this a happy ending? Should I give this a tragic ending, or should I leave it open? Whereas in, more, I guess, subjects like mathematics, there's really only one answer, like one final answer. There may be different steps, but in the end, there's only one answer to a definite answer to that question. And which is why I find mathematics easy, even though I don't enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Cool.
definitely say that I won't say that English literature is harder than STEM subjects, but I definitely agree with Mahina that it is a hard subject because again, like the same thing with maths and different science subjects, it's just straight facts. You can't deny facts. So you're just gonna memorize everything on the book. But when we study English, we have to like argue against other people's opinions and then have to prove them and then substantiate our points with different quotes and then further explain with the context or whatever the text is trying to talk about. It's really argument based, and you have to know your points and you have to know how to say your points and display it with total clarity. So it's harder than STEM subjects, I would argue.
I think Yannick, you're pretty good at the sciences too, right? Like yeah,
Yeah.
you're pretty good at the sciences. I'm not even gonna deny that. Yes, you are. Do you find, because part of being STEM is like being okay, for example, in the IB you have to take a science subject, right? So I'm clearly struggling in all the subjects I'm talking about right now. But do you think there is between, say, chemistry or biology and next to language? I don't know to what extent you like the sciences. I really don't know. Anything you can compare and contrast with, and which one do you think is harder? Because I'm pretty sure some would say, oh, chemistry is harder, chemistry is difficult, chemistry just sucks. And some might say, no, English sucks, I don't understand English.
I think chemistry is really hard. Currently in chemistry, we're doing acids and bases, and usually in class, the teacher just really throws a bunch of equations and substances to you, and you have to like figure it out, and you have to kind of find a pattern between like, okay, so this and this does that. What is the relationship between both of them? And you really have to like figure that yourself. But for biology, I don't know. Biology has always made sense to me. Like, for some reason, I really understand biology. And yeah. And I have really good memory, so I think that really gives me an advantage when it comes to the rote memorization that biology requires. Yeah.
I don't have that. Biology is, I take bio, I don't hate it. There's just certain units that are harder, like plants. I don't understand it, but I'm also
we're
using
doing plants right now.
oh, plants and DSE is fine. You get the plants in the IB and you just wanna you question what's the point of even having chloroplasts. Like, I think there was a student in my class, I can't remember who, or was it just myself, what's the green pigment in plants? And they couldn't answer it. It was pretty darn funny. Yeah, so that's what the IB file does too. Anyways, carrying on.
We have another meme here. Some of them I don't really understand, but okay. Yannick, do you agree with any of these?
First one is, I have too many books. There can never be too many books. As cliche as it may sound for an English student. I don't need a calculator. I mean, when do you need to calculate in your English assessments? Almost never, right? I hate coffee. I do hate coffee, to be fair. I'm drinking tea. I just served you some tea. Nicholas Sparks should write more. It's a bit controversial. I'm gonna leave that blank. The movie was better than the book. Oh, something that really annoys me is when the movie misses an integral part of the book. Like, what's a good example?
Wonders is a fantastic example of the book is better than the movie.
Sorry?
Wonders.
Pardon?
Wonders.
Oh.
Like, or Harry Potter. I've actually never read Harry Potter. My childhood was never based on wizards. So,
Neither have I.
Hermione is black.
What is the last one? Microsoft Word is correcting my grammar. Better listen to it. You know, I caught Grammarly's grammar once, so.
Do you use it? Do you agree? Like, do you think it's good?
I mean, when you're composing email, then I think it's fairly all right, but do not use it on your essays, please, because you know better than Grammarly what you wanted to write. And, you know, I remember one time writing an email to Grammarly about the usage of has had, and it was a really heated debate between me and Grammarly's headquarters. Yeah.
You wrote an email to Grammarly to tell them the wrongs, and then they replied you, actually.
I think I can send you a screenshot and then you can put it in the
please,
video.
I'm putting this in the podcast. Hell yeah.
But it was basically a debate of the usage of has had in my context. Yeah.
I use Grammarly. In fact, I quite depend on it. I do, but no, I proofread my work. And if I don't agree with Grammarly, I don't do what they do. And yes, I've also had the has issue in Grammarly. I've actually realized this quite often. I'm using Grammarly less because you know how in the IB you have longer projects, like arts, for example, you do long projects. When your Google Doc goes to 50 pages and your computer crashes down and it says reload because it's error, Grammarly doesn't load, and I just disabled Grammarly for that specific doc. But yes, Grammarly also has its wrongs. But student union emails where you have to sound like formal and like proper, right? And no, so I usually have to depend on Grammarly, like fix like nicer words. Not cheating though, because I still proofread my work. Do I depend completely? No.
Speaking of student union, this morning as I was reviewing the FRC email, I was actually proofreading the grammar, and I thought there was a mistake, but then I did a lot of research as I opened my grammar book. I was like, is this right? Is this the right usage? Could they have used like another word? But I just kept it to myself because I don't want to come off.
Which one was it? Because I did realize there was not a full stop in one of them.
It wasn't a full stop. Let me see. It was okay, so I quote, the email says, some of you had written amazing, like blah, 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 as to why you're suited to the role. And I was pondering on the usage of had. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I was just overthinking, because, language students, we have a heightened sensitivity to grammatical errors and, you know, punctuation, diction, blah, 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 blah.
What you said directly brings into what I'm about to, like, the different stereotypes I'm about to bring up. Because one of the first ones was being a grammar police. Do you agree
Oh,
that most language students slash English literature students are grammar Nazis? Do you think it's true?
I have been accused of being a grammar police many, many times, and I am painfully aware of it. It's just, um, it's just a thing that I enjoy doing. Like, hey, I know that you made a mistake, and it just kind of strokes my ego a little bit, I have to admit. But I kind of stopped doing this now because I may seem, like a snob, a knowledge snob, and so I'll just kind of keep it to myself and let them discover their own gems.
Please keep correcting me, Yannick. Do not for 1 second stop being a grammar police to me, because I suck at grammar. And I think you realize as you talk more to me over the years, I just suck at grammar. Please continue to do it with me. No matter if it's to boost your ego or whatever, because I just suck and I need to be educated. Thank you. Carry on.
Okay, another trope or like another characteristics of an English major is that you guys overanalyze every minute detail. You give meaning to everything, even though like it's just a freaking dead plant, and you could say, oh, it's like it represents that. But it's just a dead plant, to some people. But you guys could maybe not exaggerate, but then like make your imagination into a real thing. Do you agree with that?
Ever since I took language and literature, I literally cannot sit through a movie without like nitpicking its plot and like just analyzing like, oh, that's the symbolism, that's the message, mom. Like yesterday I was rewatching Grey's Anatomy with my mom, and there was this scene where the character says, oh, you just need to wait for a little bit. The heart, like you just took out a huge tumor from the heart. It needs to settle in and learn how to beat on its own. And I told my mom, see, mom, that's the symbolism. Her mother just died last episode. She needs to learn to beat her, like to live on her own, and her heart needs to learn to beat on itself. So that's the symbolism. And my mom did not understand a single word I said. And it's really frustrating because people just find me annoying in the theater. Yeah.
Is your mom fluent in English? Just to be like,
yeah.
Because I've also had this issue, because English, and like I'm starting to realize I have a similar issue with Yannick, where I start reading something, say like psychology for it's like a statistic books, right? Like you read stat, and then I'm like, oh, this like it symbolizes the repeating pattern of something, and it might symbol this theme in teenagers, and like my teachers don't understand a single thing I'm saying. They're like, this is psychology. Like, why you what theme, what symbol, what the teenagers, like, what do you think there? I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, but I'm also realizing I'm starting that pattern. I can't tell if it's good or bad, but I know in my writing, it's like in arts, it's great. In other subjects, I'm not too sure. Yeah, carry on. Sorry.
I remember my dad was mocking me once. We were at a restaurant and she was like, oh, do you need to analyze this menu too? Is there some theme from the menu that you could tell us? And I was like, well, to an extent, yeah. It is a really informative text. The theme is, I guess, Italian cuisine. I don't know.
God, okay. And then another characteristic I would say is that all English majors are Anglophiles. Are you an Anglophile?
I'm not. People they have this kind of fantasy about Mother England, and I just don't for some reason I just don't like England. The people are great, but I just don't really like the culture, the royal family and blah blah blah. The teas are good though. Yeah, I'm not an Anglophile.
You just provoked like half the population just because you said you don't like the royal family or something.
Because
They're gonna come
like the
after you.
recent news. Oh,
I just said it.
I think I can definitely use like my English teacher's example, for example. My English teacher, for
Who
example.
teaches you English?
Miss C. Guess the full name. I don't want to expose her because she might watch this because I sent her to the YouTube channel. Like, okay, so basically, talks about the royal family. It was actually related to what we were reading, which is Madame Eve, like a really political satire comic. There we go. It's a comedy comic, and we were saying like, oh, the royal family has like a bit of racism in it, and then one student was saying it's over exaggerated. Megan is just doing it for attention because it's an opera, blah. Miss literally set fire in the classroom, but realizing half the class actually doesn't know what's happening. So like the best analogy is that this pencil and half mark here is the 4 students that actually know what's happening, which is me and 2 other students and Miss Chung, and the rest of the class are just like confused. This side's on fire. This side has aircon and it's peace, but the other side's like fire. So yeah, basically my point is
I actually haven't watched the original interview, but I've read articles and kind of discussions on the Meghan Markle thing.
BBC, no.
Not BBC.
Yeah, but I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it. It's just weird that because the royal family is basically like the puppet, not the puppet, but then like the speakers of the government, right? They're this model family, sort of. And then this model family is now, they have like a fucked up situation. And the whole country is just like, I'm losing my shit. All my tea is gone now, and I need some tea. And then the queen just sitting there like, this country is fine, like I don't know what's happening. This whole
is
thing
that
is just
so?
like, yeah, it's not so. And then Harry's just sitting there being a hot hunk, and then Meghan Markle's just like, the whole thing's just crazy. And I don't know why they should like the royal family should be gone. Actually, I think they should turn it into either a TV show or they should like it should not happen.
The Kardashians.
Not continue to happen. Yeah, turn into a TV show. Like actually get on Netflix and then act out a whole scene or something. Because I don't see what's the point of them being there, just sitting around, like walking around the city, like doing what I don't know what they're doing.
Catch up with the royal family. Now that we speak of it, I don't know Queen Elizabeth's surname. She's just Queen Elizabeth.
Because
catch up with Queen.
The catch up with the Queen, and like there's this hierarchy. Also, I think it happens everywhere. All countries have politics, So of course, we have the royal family in the UK. I've been watching. There's a lot of TikToks on it lately, actually, about if Queen Elizabeth dies or if her husband dies, which I don't know the name to. I'm sorry, but if Queen Elizabeth dies, what happens to UK? And it's devastating. Literally, all the the paper money will change to whoever's the next person alive. The BBC will be black. Roads will be dark. It's literally like traumatizing. I see those videos and I'm like, what if Queen Elizabeth actually died? But I also don't see her important, and that's because I'm not from the UK, so I can't say anything, and I don't know anything about the UK, and I cannot be stereotypical about it. But all I'm saying is about Meghan saying whatever makes you comfortable. Ooh. You matter. Yeah.
I think a lot of people have a lot to say about what you just said.
So much.
You know what would be funny if it tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. in the morning, headline, Queen Elizabeth is actually a cupcake in disguise. Like that I would actually believe, like I want something like that to happen. So I would like laugh. Like okay. Anyways, I'm gonna move on.
I like the imagery.
Yeah. Cupcake in disguise. She is a cupcake in disguise. Come on. She's just wearing a wig and then she's just sitting there. Um, next thing on the list is that every English major speaks in poetry slash metaphors. Do you agree?
I know one person that does. Can I say his name?
If you think
No.
he wouldn't mind, is it the person that starts with an H? I'm gonna guess. No. Yeah?
No.
No. Okay.
W.
Oh,
Yeah.
him.
And yeah, I think he speaks in poetry and cursive. And Miss Couillard actually made fun of that. We actually mocked him a lot, And the ironic thing is he has he hates poetry, but he speaks like he's on poetry mode 24/7. And yeah, I just speak like a normal person, like, yeah. And he's all really formal, which kind of I guess he does it for like comedic effect, humorous effect. I don't know. I quite enjoy it though.
People who say my apologies instead of sorry in like a personal context. When I, like, for example, if I tell Justin, oh, I'm sorry I did this. Some people, I know there are some people in this world who say, my apologies. I sincerely would like to say I didn't mean to do. Like come on. Like friends.
My divine gratitude for you.
Yes, I truly show gratitude and I am thankful for your blessings in disguise.
But I wrote like that though. I do write like that in letters. I admit that I write like that.
Like in letters, I do write like that. But in like, say if I need to tell my boyfriend like, oh, I'm sorry that I'm not gonna tell him. I'm not gonna prolong a message saying my apologies for this because I accidentally, with my deepest concern, did this because of blank. I'm sorry I did it. My bad. Sorry.
Pardon, my king.
Yeah, pardon my boyfriend. My fault. Sorry. My apology.
One really funny thing is, I don't know if you had done that, but in Form 4, we basically had to write kind of an advice letter to like it was like the Chinese American, it was about Chinese American immigrants and stuff. So basically we had to write a letter of advice, and I decided to write a letter to a guy, and the tone of that letter was really pompous and it was really formal and stuff. And then after I signed off the letter, and then I thought, wow, I hope Miss Kuya doesn't no wait, that letter that I just wrote with like all those fancy words on like affectionately Yannick, that kind of has like a gay undertone. And I was like, I hope she doesn't like mistake that for like, it's not a sexual poem. It's not like, it's not a love letter. It's just the way I write in a letter. And yeah, it was a really funny story. She was like, oh, this letter has, a homosexual undertone. And I thought that was really funny.
It's cool. Yeah, we love her. We stand her. Yes.
I mean, it does though. It kind of gives off 1950s during like wartime, and then guys would write each other letters to like kiss far away, and then you like secret lover, that type of vibe.
I'm gonna read you one of the birthday letters that I wrote to my friend. It is it was not, I didn't mean to be pretentious. That's just how I write. So I wrote, my dearest blank, have you already the realization that months have names, and each comes but once a year. And though it seems they never could, they sometimes do go by. As 15 beguiles you, comfort and joy is all I wish for you. This is a momentous moment, but not defining. And then blah, 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 blah. Your affectionately, Yannick. The receiver was a guy, and he was flattered, but he got the wrong message on the.
Oh, because I feel like now you said it, like I think everything you write just kind of gives off like a homoerotic kind of vibe. Like it's not everything you write, but then I don't know, like you writing like your sentences so fancily, like so royal, you know. There's this association that I don't know, like poets are gay. Poets, like people, men who like literature are gay. You know, like they're homosexual. Like I think was Shakespeare. People
Shakespeare,
thought
I
that
think,
Shakespeare
was
was gay,
gay.
right?
Yeah.
He was.
It was a
No, but
sonnet,
then
like, yeah.
I think I remember. But yeah, like a lot of people associate just literature people with being gay, you know, and maybe it has to do with the language that they are writing in, like the language, like the way you write things are just kind of really romantic.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like the birthday letter you wrote, I would not think of, like when I read that letter, I would not think of anything else, like besides from you wanting to fuck me. Like that's like why would you write like no one would write things like these, you know? Like I've never known a person who could have the capacity and then will have the passion to write something like that.
When I write emails to teachers, I sometimes, like, how people end with like, oh, with warm regards, regards, and something like that. Usually I have fun with it, I sometimes write like passionately, or I remember the last email that I wrote was to Miss Anita, and then I basically asked her about something about osmosis and stuff, and then I ended the letter with needing of hydration, comma, Yannick. It was all in good fun. Yeah,
I can't tell, but have you guys realized in every SU letter, the last word is best regards, warmest regards, kind regards too.
Is it copy and pasted?
No, it's actually not, because I really depend on the person I'm sending it to before I choose. But because Miss Couillard used it, like regards, and my one Mahina was dumb, so I was like, maybe I should be using regards too. And since then, I've been using it since I've known her, and now I use it. Oh, but for most emails, I'm like best regards, Mahina Wong, and then whatnot. And then if there's like more specific emails, like to students, you don't write like best regards. I'm like, so I'd be like, oh, kindest regards, warm regards. Like if it's like holiday themed, I'm like, warmest regards to you all, Mahina. But it's just the word regards is very important to me, and just because it represents Miss Couillard in me, I guess. I don't know. I'm weird. Carry on. Sorry.
I actually blocked emails. Like I have a setting, and I blocked emails sent like during summer holidays. Like, and I would send them like, oh, Yannick isn't available right now. Please try again, like in like mid-August.
That's genius. I'm taking that.
Yeah. Moving on.
Okay. Another stereotype is that English majors are obsessed with coffee / working at Starbucks or cafes. Do you do that? I know that you don't like coffee, as you said it.
I think we just established that. I
Yeah,
enjoy
but
Starbucks, but I don't drink coffee.
No, but do you like to work, like sit down at Starbucks and do your work? Do you enjoy that?
I'm
I
a
think
really easily distracted person,
Yeah.
and I prefer to work at home. Like, I know some people, they read in libraries, they read in cafes, but whenever I read in the library, I just kind of summoned competitiveness into me. I was like, oh, that person is reading this page. Oh, I have to read faster than him. Like, I cannot work under that, atmosphere. So I have to work at home, the same setup with a teapot here and some warm tea.
I think we were talking
That's
about
how-
like studying before mocks, like together, right? Like we fantasized it a bit. We're like, oh, we should meet up and go to a cafe and study for mocks together. And I was like, imagine, because I rarely, usually if I study, I usually go to university to study because I have a USC library card. And I was thinking about like, imagine if I actually studied in like a cafe where it's like screaming loud and then there's like people just, like, can
It's
I have
unrealistic.
like this? Yeah, it's just for the aesthetic. Like no one does it.
It's just for the aesthetic. Yeah, like Instagram. Hey, I studied today. I mean, I sometimes do that, but let's not talk about me. Oh wait, it's all about me today.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Other stereotypes, we pretty much covered them. Constantly reading, I guess it's kind of true, right?
Constantly reading.
Well, not constantly, but then
Depends.
spends majority of your time reading.
Not really.
Oh, okay.
It really depends how I feel, because I have a lot of hobbies. I don't just read, so it really depends if I'm feeling a little bit introverted. If I want like just to read a good book. Currently, I'm reading. I don't have the book right here, but oh wait, I do.
50 Shades of Grey.
I've not read it. I'm reading a nonfiction. Yay! The 100 Simple Secrets of Great Relationships.
Are you
Yeah.
craving one, or is it just like for the sake of? Cause
Are you
wait, is it
craving
from?
a homoerotic relationship?
It's just for diversity's sake, Like I pretty much solely read fictions. So read fictions. So currently I'm trying something new. I'm reading self-help books.
There's a really good one. A fast. I forgot the name, but it was like a psych book. It's like fast and slow pace thinking. Hayden gave me that book. I still read it. It's actually pretty good, but I already finished it, and it's basically just like a psych book. It's like concentrate your mind to something, and you'll learn and you'll understand yourself better. Basically, didn't help me in short, because no.
You know that book, like everyone has, like every spiritual person has the type. I think it's called The Power of Now. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Everyone just have that in their Kanken backpack and Starbucks coffee. You're like, oh, I'm reading The Power of Now, and I've read it too, and it's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, but I think it's overrated. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much all of the tropes, I think. I think because I originally thought that we couldn't last an hour long, but then we totally exceeded that limit. So do you guys want to move on to a part where I talk about English degree and like a bit of the facts, I guess?
Oh, I have
Yeah,
a question
sure.
before we go in.
Oh.
Do you like linguistics? I can't never say it. Because in our forum, we also have a student that loves language, but he plans on studying linguistics. I don't think he's going into literature, actually.
Linguistics. Oh, I actually like linguistics. I actually have a book about linguistics and semantics of words. It's called Word by Word by Corey Stamper. Corey Stamper is a lexicographer, and she basically in this book she talks about the semantics of the word and basically how you apply it and why it's so tricky to write a definition for it. And yeah, I think linguistics is really interesting, especially when I'm a grammar police. I get really horny for words, basically.
We're doing it in TOK, and TOK is like a very philosophical class, right?
Yeah.
The questions we get we get a set of 4 questions usually, and then you answer them personally or in a group. How do you define language? How do we communicate through language? Is there other forms of language that doesn't use the vocabulary of letters? language is language the only type of form of communication? Like it is. And then there's the linguistics student in my class. I have no clue what he's saying. I understand 0% of it, and I feel I'm just in a university lecture, just sitting down and listening to him speak, like for 40 minutes. Not even to the teacher, to him.
Wow. Those are really interesting questions that I haven't even begun to. I don't even understand the question itself. So
When it's 8
then?
a.m. in the morning and your teachers ask those questions, ideas will spark, and you'll get an A on your essay.
Okay, here's some statistics. Okay, what's happening? Okay, it's a bit bigger now. So you can see here, there are a total of about 60,000 English degrees awarded. And the average wage, I don't know if this is by year, I think it is, but it's around 75,000. So how much is that in Hong Kong dollars? Like,
is that US dollar or pounds?
It's US dollars.
I need to find my calculator. I can't do mental math.
Five.
Oh, I did it. It's
58,000. 58,000 divided by 12. That's pretty reasonable, pretty decent, I guess. In Hong Kong, 48,000.
Yeah,
48,000 per month.
People in the workforce, that is 1.48 million. And then average employee age is 43 years old, which kind of proves the theory that, I don't know, like poets are just old white men.
Yeah, that's really interesting though, because it says 1.48 million people in workforce, but when it comes to job opportunities, English literature is, I think it's really vague, like you have many career choices. For example, for mathematics, when you graduate, you could be a math teacher, you could be a mathematician, you could be working in computer science. If you work in biology, you could do biomedicine or whatever. If you graduated with an English literature degree, you're most likely gonna end up like working in a library. I don't know, like
librarian,
a teaching job. At least that's what people assume. When I tell people that I want to study English literature, the next thing that follows that question is like, oh, but you don't earn a lot. Like teachers don't earn a lot. And I just thought, I never said anything about teaching, but note to self.
No, I would think that maybe if you're studying English literature as a major, you want to minor in something that's a bit more. I don't want to say it's more useful, but I would suggest that you study something more like applicable, I guess, like something like history or other subjects that need more of like an analytical eye that you can use. Because you learn how to analyze stuff in English, so it makes sense that you use that kind of keen eye in history and other subjects that need.
I read this article recently. It was an NPR article. I can like send you guys the link, but basically it was saying like Mount Sinai Hospital or University, it's a medical university. They are actually looking for applicants who graduated with an English literature degree instead of STEM degrees, because they think that a good doctor has to be able to communicate effectively with their own patients, and that is basically what English literature teaches you, to communicate effectively. That's a really interesting side note.
Well, I do think it's important for doctors to communicate with their patients, but once they're on once they're on the surgery table, I wouldn't think that talking to a person that's on anesthesia effectively would make any would boost the performance or anything, like. So I don't know, I think
Well, surgeons and
it
doctors are different,
well, yeah, but doctors but you still have to have a hefty amount of knowledge to pursue doctor's degree.
I'm not too sure if this is a stereotype, but every pre-med student doesn't like literature. Has anyone seen this? I know one person, and that's the only person. But
I know one person too, who
which
she
pre-med likes English.
when I told her, I think she wanted to be a neurosurgeon. So when I told her, oh, I'm doing English A higher level, she's like, ew. Yeah. That is like what I hear every day.
Like
oh, you're doing HL? Ew.
Honestly saying. But moving on to a language degree. So I don't know what you even study in a language degree. I mean, it seems pretty self-explanatory, but I want to know a bit more, so I went and searched. So of course you improve the fluency and like different abilities, like reading, writing, and speaking in that language you want to study in, and you apparently also cover the history, the politics, the literature, and the film of the country associated with that language. So that I find really interesting. And you can also apparently study in that country that speaks the language for a year or maybe even a few years to really get a strong grasp of the language. So I think that's really interesting. And then with statistics, obviously there are less people pursuing a language degree because it seems pretty, I wouldn't say it seems pretty useless, but I don't know how you would apply that degree to
a job.
To
It's
a
a common
job.
I guess a common reaction would be like, hey, I already speak the language. I don't need to go to university for like 3 more years of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I want and it's a pretty limited field, isn't it? Like language. It's very, I mean, unless you go to the country that you desire and then start a job, like work a job there, but you still have to, I think you need to have certain skills with that job you're working with, right? Besides from like knowing how to speak the language.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's kind of confusing, but I mean, if you love languages, I mean, by all means, go and study for it. And then I think languages are like the narrowest fields out of all the subjects or electives you can study in college, but I'm not sure.
The previous one was literature, right?
Yeah, it was literature.
Yeah. I think a literature degree a person would benefit more from a literature degree than, a language and linguistic degree, in my view.
It's kind of like arts, kind of. It's a little bit like art. Like if you do, okay, say drama, acting drama, applied theater, drama and education. One is a broad subject, so applied theater is very broad. Acting can be broad, but realize how teachers usually don't do an acting degree. Like, say Mr. Stevenson, for example. I don't think he did an acting degree, but he went to Central. It's like, can't confirm anything. I don't really know. But it's kind of like, do you choose the road, which is more broad, so like literature, or do you go for the narrow, like the small road? So if you go like theater education, other than being a teacher, I don't see where you can go. And if Mr. Stevenson is watching this, I am screwed. So I'm so sorry.
So it's theater education. So wow, that's a really specific university major, is it? That's really I mean, it's really definitive. So after you graduate from your theater
you must be
education,
very, very
you
sure.
become a teacher. Yeah.
No, but
Go on.
okay, sorry, I'm gonna interrupt, but I just want to say that the teachers that go straight into education and go right out to schools and teach in international schools, like Mr. Stevenson and all those different teachers, they're smart as fuck. Because international schools, they have high tuition, and that means they earn a lot, right? So they know how to manipulate us international students into studying in CSS, and then just grabbing our money, just robbing us, just smashing our Porsches to pay the tuition. And I don't know if he has a Porsche, but he probably has one by now because, man, like he probably gets like paid a lot.
Let's focus on what Mr. Stevenson is in our school. He's the head of drama, so technically head of faculty of drama. Castellet supervisor. So again, another head. He was the head of middle school, the deputy head. So that's another head. He came into the school as a head too. Then 2 years later, he became the head of his own subject, and he came into the school teaching the following Form 6 students that was doing drama. Isn't that insane?
He probably
If
has
I
a
were to
pet
become
pig
a
or something.
teacher, I wouldn't teach a high school. I would teach, university, because I don't know, I cannot handle hormonal kids.
Teenagers.
Wait, isn't it the exact opposite though? Because university, there are frat parties, you have fraternities, you have what's the girl version of frats?
Parties.
No, like, anyways, but you have guys and women who are fucking each other constantly in the dorms, just walking around. It's like it's a live stripper club kind of vibe. Because everyone's just in their dorms and everyone's just hooking up with opposite gender, the same gender, and with other, I don't know, like other genders,
Well, I don't think that applies to literature student. I don't think literature students are party animals. I don't know.
Because
that's just
I agree.
Yeah.
Like there's some majors. For example, I did life science. Not one kid in my dorm ever did that. They were all. The weird thing is, I tried going into a dorm. We played Uno 3 in the morning. That was the life science kids. We basically did that every single day, and then we studied every single day, and then we played back to Uno. It was pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah, like literature kids. I mean, they study literature for a reason. They're really in touch with the inner self. They're really spiritual. They're really, they ponder about philosophical questions, and that is just their fun, and that is my kind of fun too.
One more thing before we leave, because I think Yannick has to leave soon. Any advice for students?
I do.
Yeah, you do. One more question, which would take, I think, 1 minute. Any advice for students that are planning into going into literature, although you're still at Form 4, but you're at exactly in Form 6, which is insane? Any advice for writers? Or any advice for people who are learning language, basically, because I need it.
Learning language. First of all, I guess I'm gonna give advice to people who are looking into creative writing. I think, for those of you who want to pursue in creative writing, whether that is writer, poet, or some other bloggers, the only way for you to do that is to just write. A writer is a person who translates his or her thoughts into, tangible material, tangible texts. And yeah, so just keep on writing. The only way for you to do is just write. And for literature student,
study, literally, no to study.
Do well in English, and if you fail an English test, it really hits you hard. Like you start wondering, why do I even want to do this anymore. Like I suck at English. Like, why do I even want to study literature in university? So my advice to you is to study and don't F up. Yeah. I don't have advice, like real advice for you. I'm sorry. I myself am just, walking on the edge. Yeah.
Great. I think that's towards the end of our episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you watch to the end, which according to statistics, you guys usually don't. It's okay. We don't go there. If Mr. Stevenson watches this and he hears the stuff we said, we love you, Mr. Stevenson. We really do. Anyway, and any teacher that watches this and we said their name, sorry.
Yeah.
We love you. We really do. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next episode. Bye.